Alright, so we're out here scouting today and stumbled up on something pretty cool. If you can look around, you can see these huge white oaks. And then the way they're kind of laid out, it makes me think this is probably like an old house place. If you look right here in front of us, there is a big pawed out spot. And this is probably where the smokehouse used to sit. And just years and years of smoking the meat in there, the deer just turned it into a salt lick. So we threw a camera up on it. I mean, we'll see. Who knows? This stuff's pretty cool to me, though. I had an old mineral lick there from a couple years ago. I just looked at it and they're really not touching it, so we're going to just keep rolling. All right, so this is a big salt lick. We came in here a couple weeks ago, threw a camera on it, and this thing was full of water. You really couldn't tell nothing about tracks. We just put a camera there, and man, bucks have showed up out of the woodwork. So it's got real dry. We're gonna bring some more salt, freshen it up. We'll see what happens. All right, so we just dumped a little water on there. I had it. It can't hurt. Just help dissolve that salt down in the dirt a little bit. We'll add some pictures off the trail camera, see if anything shows up. About to roll up on another salt lick right here. It was full of water too, so we really didn't know, but we'll check it and see if there's any tracks in it today. Pretty dry, but still a few little wet spots here and there. You can tell when there's tracks in it, but this hole here, they're definitely been digging in this hole. So if you wanted to get a good inventory of your bucks, just put a camera right here and you'll see what's coming. Well, this was a pea patch, but I believe it done its job, and the deer kind of mowed it down. There's not many beans left, so I'm gonna kind of walk around the edge and see what kind of sign we can see, though. The only thing I see is turkey scratching. I don't see no deer signs, so let's roll. patch, but it looks the same shape as the last one we just looked at. Not many peas, the deer just wiped them out, so we're just gonna keep riding, see what else we can find. Thought you were bringing the buggy. And I know some people are scared of hinds, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Let's go check another spot. Daggone deer flies will tear you up in there, son. Boy, it is hot today, but I'm down here in this bottom. It's nice and cool. That's one of my favorite ways to find some deer sign when it's real hot like this, is to get off in these bottoms, because the deer are going to utilize it when it's nice and cool. And a creek, I mean, there's water there, they got to have water. But there's always a good chance you can find a good deer crossing a creek somewhere. And I found a decent little area right here that's got a bunch of tracks in it, so let me turn you around so you can see. It's really kind of hard to tell, but I mean, there's pretty good fresh tracks. I just go all the way down this hole, down this creek. They're going both ways. You can see how thick this bottom is. I mean, the canopy's real low in here, so it'd be hard to hunt, but for now, it's a good starting point. I mean, you know there's deer in this area by looking at the tracks, so we're gonna keep moving, see what else we can stumble across. That's too thick in there. I'm gonna look over here. So we're out here doing a little scouting today. Here behind me, that's a big 10-year-old cutover, clear cut, pine thicket now if you want to call it that. And then there's a big bottom down here. And I'm going up this little ridge right here. There's a real good trail working right around on its edge. Then there's the hard line where the hardwoods meets the thicket. I found a big scrape up here. I'm gonna go up here and put a camera on it. I'll show you what it looks like. Let's see if we can flip this thing around. You can tell where turkeys have been in here scratching around already. good feed trees right here. We just have to come back and check at a later time. But then deer ought to work this edge right here. That's a pretty good sized scrape. I mean, it's definitely not being hit now, but it tells me there is a buck in this area, so we'll put the camera out and we'll see what happens. This huge white oak right here, you can see off the left and to the right, it's just super thick. That's one isolated feed tree, as close to the bedding as you can get. If that mama's giant acorns, this is the spot. I mean, I'm brave, but I ain't that daggone brave. Anybody brave enough to cross this bridge? That's probably the promised land on the other side, but we won't find out today. Big honk. We're on the hunt for a big salt lick out here in these hardwoods. I remember 10 years ago I hunted this club. I've been asleep a few times since then, but I think there's one out here. Side of some pines, come out of the pines, feeding on white oaks. I put the smack down. As far as the buggy goes, it's all feet from here. Finally found it. Like I said, I was in this club 10 years ago, and I remembered a salt lick up here in these hardwoods. And heck, I finally found it. So put a Browning cell camera on it. It's got some tracks in it, but it's real dry. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but we'll keep the camera here for a little bit. All we can do is just look and hope. But there's a ton of acorn trees in here, and it's surrounded by thick cutover, so it's a perfect little feeding area. So we'll keep it in the back of our mind for sure. A lot of these deer, there's an 80-acre block to our left. And just a little section here to the right before you get back to the road, but there's a big thicket on the other end of this 80 acres. Well, this one draw right here, those deer like to come out and skirt right around this edge and come up into these woods before they go over and cross the road, going back to some big agricultural fields. They bypassed us a bunch last year, so we're gonna put us a ladder in this pine tree right here to my right. Hopefully we'll be able to see over enough to kind of catch them if they decide to do that same thing again this year, so we'll see. All these limbs gotta go so we can see from the tree now. All these cedar limbs. See all the bean fields way across the river, and that's where the deer are at right now, there's no doubt. But once they harvest the beans, this little section of woods is about the biggest section around these fields, and it's real thick, but like I said, it's our little private lease, and those deer just flood up in here, so you may not see much during bow season or even first part of gun season. But once they harvest the beans, this is the place to be. Last spot of the day right here. This little piece of private land we got. We don't even come over here until a rut to hunt. We'll plant a big field here on this power line. They threw out a mineral block and they're hitting it. I just had an extra bag of corn, so the grass that I got too tall in the field, so my camera was going crazy, so I had to move it. And threw the bag of corn out, and we're tired, so we're just kind of just making what we can out of the rest of the day.